Welcome back, folks, to another exciting session as my buddy Tim and I go through the MCU. Now, I know a lot of you have seen these movies, it's old news, but I've got news for you. Rewatching these brings up a lot of different stuff, and I'm going to share some stuff tonight that I didn't catch originally, and I think there's a lot of value in rewatching these films and discussing them. Not even get just what we know now, but just in general, there's a lot of things in these films that didn't catch me the first two or three times, but it's also going to be a fun run as we get to review the movies that come out by the time we actually get there. So,
Yeah.
if Black Widow comes out this year, we'll be able to get that towards the end. Um, so, Tim, we're starting phase two now.
Yeah. There we are.
We were just talking prior to starting that it seems like we already watched so many movies, but I guess in reality we did. We're at 9 movies already.
Between watching these movies and lining up with Greg with the TV shows, it seems like a lot more.
Yeah,
And also trying to fit these like 2-hour movies, 3 at a time, into our week seems like a lot. So
yeah, and as I was saying, I'm doing the Burton Batmans right now too, and I didn't realize they were over 2 hours each. You know, when a movie came out at that time, I was expecting it to be like an hour and 20 minutes, but no such luck. So I was really excited to have this discussion with you today because I think you're going to be surprised by some of the things that I share. Let's kick it off with Iron Man 3, my friend.
yeah, can't wait. What'd you think?
Oh, you're going to put it on me first.
Yeah.
I'm going to be honest. This movie has aged like a Betty White. It just gets better and better every time I see it. I actually could not stand this movie the first time I saw it. For obvious reasons that a lot of people had, the Mandarin stuff. They totally lost me with that. But then the second time I watched it, I was able to accept it more. Third time, a little more. I think this is my sixth viewing. I'm going to be honest. I don't think I would have cared who the villain was in the film. That's not what it was about. It really was about Tony um, and also Rhodey. I think that Tony's struggle with mental health throughout this entire film was tackled very well. I That was one of my critiques. The first couple times I watched it, and I think I was watching it from the wrong angle. I was watching it more of um, using it as an excuse for what's going on, but it was really him battling his demons. And it wasn't the crutch that I first saw it as the first couple times I watched it. So I think that was handled really well. It's a testament to Robert Downey Jr.'s acting. I really wish we had more Happy in this movie just because I love that character, but that was also necessary. I really like they're able to show what time they're in without having to really spend too much time on it when they opened up with Blue by Eiffel 65 at the New Year's celebration. That right there just sets it. And it's like a minor thing, but I love in the beginning, like John Favreau's hair.
Oh yeah.
That just really, I love that.
I couldn't keep my eyes off it.
Yeah, no, it's amazing. I think the Iron Patriot dialogue was just excellent. The writing in this film, not even plot, just writing alone was really strong. I think the strongest of the three Iron Man films, and maybe some of the strongest writing we've seen in any of the films. And I'm going to say it again. I'm glad Terrence Howard was replaced by Don Cheadle because him and Robert Downey Jr. That's just lightning in a bottle right there.
Always.
They're spot on with chemistry, with timing. Even that's the scene where they're fighting together, side by side. Just aside from another duo we'll talk about later, it's just hard to match this one.
Yeah.
And I'm gonna be honest, Gwyneth Paltrow has the acting ability of a foot, in my opinion, but she's even stunning in this movie. The ending with Pepper, it bothered me so much the first few times I saw it, and I don't know why it did, to be honest. But man, that was just killer. And obviously it's very Paul Bettany heavy, so I'm very happy there. My one question.
A sassy Paul Bettany at that.
Yes, a very sassy Paul Bettany. And now seeing his comedic charms come out in some of these films, especially with in WandaVision there, he's a being in my head when he's doing these things and saying these things.
Yeah.
I do kind of wonder where Nick Fury is during a lot of this. We know he's off doing stuff and things like that, but you feel like these events wouldn't just unfold and not have some sort of involvement there. I guess that's kind of like my one thing, unless I'm conflating some storyline somewhere, but
Who
does
we
that sound like a
talking?
reasonable question?
Who we talking?
Nick Fury,
Oh,
all
yeah.
this unfolding. You'd think he'd be around for it. Folks at home, I'm sorry if I sound nasally. I have the itis, and I took some medicine right before here, so I apologize if the drip is there. I feel it. I hope you don't hear it too much. Um, I loved seeing Tony in a father-like role. When he threw the snowball at the little kid, that's priceless.
Yeah.
And to be honest, I missed that the first time I saw the movie for some reason. I don't know, or maybe I just didn't remember it, but I got a real automatic smile there. Um, Adam Pauly from Happy Endings is our cameraman. That is just a good time. I just love little cameos like that. Um, in watching the movie too, I've always been like, how many times are we gonna watch Iron Man rebuild the damn suits? And then, by the end, you realize it's got a purpose. And I actually enjoyed that this time around. So maybe I've grown or the film's grown on me. I think, and you can interrupt me at any point here, Tim. It's not just the Dan show
No,
here.
it's cool.
I think what I like the
Fascinated.
most, what's that?
I'm fascinated.
I will say the Mandarin plotline, highly disappointing. That I'll never get past that. That was just a waste to me. Um, what I liked most about the movie, though, was Tony using his mind and not just his man-made power. A lot of this was Tony without a suit. And I think in a lot of these movies, yeah, he's an inventor and all that stuff, but we forget just how brilliant this man is. And seeing him have to rely on that brilliance and his wisdom to survive and to ensure that others survive, I think that flies under the radar a lot, but I wanted to clock how long he's without a suit or how long, he's without functioning armor. And I forgot to, because I got too engrossed with the actual movie, which is a testament to the movie. So yeah, I think that was my biggest takeaway. And I actually would have liked a lot more of that moving forward. There was somewhere in the middle of all these films where there's a pissing match between the male characters and the leadership roles. And that always kind of irked me. But I think on so many levels, it would be Tony who'd be the leader anyways. He's got the mind. And I think this is one of the few films where they rely on that over his toys, basically.
Yeah, I agree.
So I would have liked more of that from other films. I did rank this movie rather high, and I think it's actually my second highest score I've given so far.
Wow.
And so I'm giving it a 7.
Okay, still not very high, but
on the scale of where I've gone, though, that's
Yeah.
really high. I've given out a 3 already.
Yeah.
So and to be honest, that Mandarin storyline does take away a lot of it for me.
Yeah.
But no, I think a 7's quite high. It's better than Thor, but that's where I fell with this film. And given a year or two ago, I probably would have given it a 4 or 5. That's definitely speaks volumes. I really love this film, and I honestly look forward to a couple of years from now watching it again and maybe loving it even more.
Yeah.
So that was my diary of the mouth.
Okay.
So what do you have, my friend?
Well, the thing about these 3 set of movies that we're covering today, they're all sequels for the 3 major players that we have going on right now. And it's just fascinating that this time, like, even though we're in different numbers of the sequels, like we're on Iron Man 3 and then Thor and Captain America 2, they're just, all of them are just radically different from the predecessors and also the succeeding stories for all 3 of them. And that right off the bat I just find interesting. With that being said, one of the things that really set this apart for me was the Tony voiceover. Throughout the movie, it wasn't too much, but I just really loved what he had to say, and they even chose to include this the same kind of what is it, sarcasm and just that Robert Downey Jr. like dialogue. It's not just like a straight serious plot development voiceover. It's super meaningful, and it just adds so much to it. I
thought that was very unique to this entire MCU. Actually, I would have liked more of that, I think.
Yeah, yeah, I agree. Um, so starting from the beginning, yes, I really, oh, I get the biggest smile when I hear Eiffel 65. Um, and then you got, like you said, it's the little things, those little cameos. Like um, we actually saw, we actually see Yinsen at the same conference that they were talking about in Iron Man 1 in the cave. And something I noticed when they introduced Killian was that the think tank that he founded was AIM. I I didn't even realize it. So um, so it might be a little late in the game now, but oh my god, my heart would be a flutter if they actually picked that back up and introduced Modoc that way.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, the possibilities, but it doesn't look like it's going that way.
No, we're getting
Um,
that weird robot chicken like Hulu show.
but Patton Oswalt's attached, so we
Oh yeah, I'm in.
can't be too upset. Yeah. Um, Killian himself, they they pulled an Amazing Spider-Man 2, and they took this debonair actor and just made him look nerdy, almost satirically,
Mm-hmm.
and eh, eh, it was better than Jamie Foxx, that's for sure. It was a little bit more convincing, but I really did like I really did enjoy Killian's character this time around. Um, and like especially that scene where he first meets Pepper after he gets all hot and stuff, hot guy Pierce. Um, when they're standing in the middle of the projection of his brain and stuff, that was really cool. And um, and I loved Trevor Slattery. Everything about him, from the voice that he used while pretending to be the Mandarin. I could listen to that all over and over. I got so excited when I first saw this movie and had the notion that this was going to be our Mandarin.
Yeah.
And then ultimately disappointment. But we'll see how this real Mandarin ends up being in Shang-Chi coming up.
And I was watching to see if there's like Easter eggs to set any of that up or anything. You know how
Yeah.
far out they plan it, and I didn't catch anything to be honest.
Yeah. Yeah. I really did like the idea of it just being a terrorist group.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I don't know. We'll see how this ends up in Shang-Chi, but I really like the setup. It's just a shame that it didn't end up going anywhere. Um, Bouncing off of you, the PTSD was handled really, really well. I especially love that scene in the diner. Where he just started having those panic attacks, and then later on in the bedroom when for the first time of two, his suits try and kill Pepper. But that's where I think Iron Man 2 falls short, as much as I really enjoyed that movie too. The whole time I've heard people say, oh, it's talk about his alcoholism. No, it was just the poisoning from his chest piece.
Yeah, the palladium.
Yeah, because I know I thought he was blowing into a breathalyzer in the beginning of that movie, but I just wish they focused on the alcoholism more so in the second one. The way they did the PTSD in this one, it was really nicely sewn into the plot, and just like you, really really enjoyed the central plot being about him trying to realize himself that he's more than his suits, and that kind of internal struggle is always going to be the biggest villain, more so than any guy with hot hands can be.
I in that first round we were clearly leading up to the Avengers, and I think what maybe made this film different, especially when tackling that PTSD stuff, is nobody quite knew what to expect next for like this next phase or what we're doing. So they were actually able to explore these characters a lot more than they were, I think, in phase one, where there was a rush to get to the end
Yeah.
line of the Avengers. So I think, you know, where you talk about the Iron Man 2 thing, not exploring the the alcoholism enough and the end of life stuff. I don't know how committed they were to the character then, as opposed to in this third one, where all right, we reached one milestone, what's next, kind of thing, and they found that people actually care about these characters.
Yeah. Harley, I really really loved Harley, especially with Tony.
Mhm.
Their banter was sometimes better than Rhodey's, and that just that whole scene, exploring what happened to that first guy who blew himself up inadvertently, um, and just helping him, rebuild the 42, and it was just so great. Um, and yeah, just overall a really really good movie. They kind of faltered in a couple of ways. I'm still not a huge fan of Pepper coming in to save the day. It was
Mhm.
cool. She was super badass, especially in this latest viewing. Um, and I get I she needed her time to shine instead of just being this damsel in distress Lois Lane type. Um, and I'm glad she did get it, but I don't know, the the way it panned out was I wish there was just more of a fight. Um, we got the fight with Tony and Killian, but maybe like a little 2-on-1 action would have probably played out a little bit better.
You know, I'm with you there, and part of my thinking on late night pooper was if that needed to happen, to kind of get him to realize I need more help than I think. You know, what like the ending with
Yeah,
him actually finally getting, you know, surgery. You know,
yeah,
if Pepper coming in to have to save him instead of him being the one to save her, if that was the wake up call he needs, we're like, all right, shit's not okay. I gotta get on
yeah,
this because I need to be around for her in a lot of ways, and you know, so it's not like because you know he's got to do the manly thing, but he's supposed to be the hero, and he just had to have his ass saved by the person he swears to protect. So, you
yeah,
know, I think that may have served as that wake up call. I don't know, you know, because I'm with you on that. I would have preferred something else, you know, better fight scene, something like that. It was really kick ass for her. I love that component, but
yeah,
that's not how I want an Iron Man movie to end,
yeah. Right.
for Iron Man kind of thing. So, but I'm wondering if it served as that, and if that was the purpose, then it was done very well.
Yeah. Right.
But
So overall, with this being the first trilogy that is finished in the MCU, ever since I saw Civil War, and I'll touch on this more when we talk about Winter Soldier, but watching through these movies again, I still kind of have this competition between the Iron Man and the Cap um,
those
trilogies.
franchises, yeah.
Sorry to Thor, but his trilogy doesn't come close to these two. Um, I just feel that Iron Man has the strongest trilogy overall.
Mhm. I would agree.
But again, I'll touch on that more when we talk about Winter Soldier. So overall, fantastic movie. This is one I see myself visiting a couple times if I'm ever in the mood for a Marvel movie, which has been tough. Because like I said in our group chat one night or one morning, the Marvel fatigue is real, and
Yeah.
I found myself not outside of these videos. I just have no desire uh, to revisit them. But overall, I'm going to give this guy a 9 out of 10.
I thought you were gonna go that direction,
Yeah,
and I'm gonna change mine, Tim.
yeah,
I'm going with an 8.
hell yeah,
Yeah, I got a 7. I'm looking at what I rated a couple other things. I got to go an 8 on this one.
cool.
Um, all right, I think we're gonna have very conflicting uh, ideas about Thor: The Dark World,
Yeah,
and um, I started on the first one. I can start on this one because I think you're gonna have much more to say
okay,
about
all right, cool.
it. I don't like it. I think Kat Dennings, you know, Darcy steals the show as she tends to do in any scene she's in. I'll give her that, and I'll give them that for casting. The graphics were much better than the first, but that doesn't make them good. Uh, it existed. The misdirection with Loki and Thor was kind of cool for the scene where they end up teaming up there. I totally forgot about that, even rewatching it for the fourth time. So I think that was all right. Uh, in a lot of this movie, Thor seems like he's a novice when it comes to fighting, and he just gets knocked around, and it's like he doesn't know what he's doing. You know, they were still playing on the whole dumb Thor thing, but he's never not been a barbarian. So uh, him getting his ass kicked all over the place just really didn't make sense for that character. Uh, the other characters weren't that much bigger than him.
Yeah.
So I don't know what they were doing there.
I think it was more so apparent with the fight with Malekith at the end.
Yeah.
Honestly, there wasn't much to it, and I feel like the overuse of the portals was just kind of a crutch.
Yeah. I think it was a movie that they were very lost in what do we do. They kind of painted themselves into a corner with how they did the first Thor, and they, for some reason, forced it to keep going, even though reception on the first one was not great.
Yeah.
Instead of correcting, they just doubled down. And they didn't fix much. You know, Natalie Portman gave a decent performance, but it was very uninspired. And part of me just wonders if that has a lot to do with the script, because that script was pretty bad. The story was bad. I think it was a waste of characters. It was shot so dark. I like to watch movies with kind of in the dark, and I had to turn my lights on.
That was in my notes. This movie reached a DC level of dark.
Yeah. I don't know. It just was not good. It got another 3 from me, and I don't want to spend 20 minutes hammering the movie. Like I cut my notes in half for this one. It got a 3 for me, to be honest. I was dreading going into watching this one, and I said, you know what? No, I'm going to open my mind up. I know there's some decent stuff in there, and then I just watched, and then I'm like, well, let me turn on my lights, and then I paused it a couple times to, just kind of write some notes, but also take a break from it. It just was not a fun movie by any means.
Yeah.
Comic books are fun. Comic book movies are supposed to be fun. If you want a dark movie, watch everything DC's put out in the last 15 years. If you don't want to have fun with a movie, I don't know what direction they were trying to go, and I don't know what they were trying to do, but Thor is a very fun character. He's very sarcastic. The guy fights gods. He's not going to get knocked down with some puny little chump. So it almost seemed like the folks heading this whole project had no idea who Thor is as a character. And they just sat down to write something to either fit the first one or just be a gateway to, the next big team up, but they didn't write a Thor specific movie, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And it was just dreadful, to be honest. It's probably, I think it is my least liked Marvel movie, to be honest.
Okay.
So, 3 for me. I'm going to stop badgering it.
Yeah. Well, I'm not afraid to. I do have some good things to say, but overall, it's a movie. It's there. My biggest problem actually comes with Malekith. I haven't been doing so recently, but I've been big into trying to collect those battle line variant covers.
I gotta dig those out for you too, by the way.
Yeah, the one of Malekith is just so great. I love his blue and yellow coloring, and they should have stuck with that. What better way to help a villain stand out than make it non-traditional villain colors? Unless you're talking that evil jester guy from Are You Afraid of the Dark, the one that haunted my dreams since I was 6 years old. But yeah, him and Curse was ugly as sin. I didn't know what the comic book Curse looked like, and I would very much prefer that one. His look is just so ugly. No redeeming part of that. I have to agree with you too. anything that Kat Dennings touched in that movie is the best part. Unfortunately, she is better in this movie than she was in WandaVision,
Yeah.
um, which is unfortunate because there was a lot of potential there. Um,
I just don't think they used her right.
no, they didn't. Yeah, everything from dropping from the intern Ian dropping the keys in the portal to kissing Ian at the end
Yeah.
and everything in between. Minus half the time when she was just reacting to Natalie Portman coming back after several hours. I feel like that was half of her role. The Warriors 3 are still blatantly underused. But I like them a little bit better in this movie, probably because I don't have to tilt my head to account for the Dutch angles. But yeah, they were pretty cool. I especially love Zachary Levi's character. I can't think of his name, but just the way they all helped them escape from Asgard to head to the Dark World was probably the best scene, especially with Thor driving the ship and Loki just busting his chops like nonstop, standing behind him.
Yeah.
Were you gonna say something?
Oh, Zachary Landro or Zach Levy was Landro.
Yes, yes. Selvig. This is actually where Selvig peaked as well, I believe.
Yeah.
Although I'm kind of glad he hasn't been in a movie since. Maybe he'll show up in Love and Thunder. I doubt it because they have so many other characters at this point. So overall, I mean, the fight scenes were decent, but that one fight scene with Malekith was just okay. Portals. But the way he got taken out by Thor was actually pretty cool, I thought. Overall, yeah, disappointing. Probably won't visit this again, unless I'm really feeling a Thor movie, which I would just watch Ragnarok then.
Oh yeah.
So overall, I give this a solid 5.
Rolling with a 5 on that one.
Yeah, I feel like that's being a little gratuitous.
And our last segment was quite negative, so I'm happy that we will probably get to end this one on a high note.
Probably.
Thoughts on Winter Soldier?
All right, do you want me to go on first on this one? Okay. All right. There's no denying that this is one of the best movies that the MCU has to offer right now. Just touching real quick on Captain America's trilogy, I really wanted the third movie to be an extension of this. This had such a different feel to it as more so of a spy thriller than just a normal superhero movie. It just made me crave more, which is strange because I feel like it was a little too long. But I just adore this movie, and this was Chris Evans' best performance, minus his cameo in Thor: The Dark World, which I'm sure he had a blast doing.
Oh yeah.
And oh my god, it was so good to see, baby Bucky and baby Sam again. Like when they were fighting on top of the helicarrier, I was just, oh my god, this is where they met for the first time. Now look at them, and it was just really cool to see that development in Sam, and just how incredible Sebastian Stan is, especially with that knife work.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, there wasn't a single bad fight scene in the movie, and they were all very fluid, and each fight scene was unique, which I thought was pretty cool.
Well,
I'm gonna try and keep them.
there's a lot of different styles in the fighting too, you know, with
Yes, yeah,
character. I
yep,
love
a
that.
lot of variety. Yeah, I'm gonna try and keep from rambling since I forgot my notes and all that. But seeing Arnim Zola made me freak out and was the best part of the movie for me when I first saw it. Especially that little nod to his comic book appearances as the walking talking robot, very similar to Krang
Mhm.
from Ninja Turtles. Even had the little mono-lensed camera on top of the console. Um, just overall, it was very very engrossing, I guess is the best word. But after a while, again, it was a little too long. I found myself kind of dipping out of it towards the beginning of the main fight scene when they're just skiing up to the helicarrier, and around the time that Sam gets the wings ripped off. But it's just so great. I don't have much more to say other than it's great.
I love the camera work in this film.
That's I'm usually the artistic one, but I didn't notice too much of it this time around.
If you notice a lot of the fight scenes in the other Cat movies, it's very isolated on what's happening in the particular scene. This was the first time the camera was going everywhere. It was
Yeah,
without making you dizzy. It's following the characters, it's following debris that's falling, it's following, um,
yeah,
you know, characters on the other half of the screen while still focusing on. I don't know. It's you've got me looking for these things now when I watch these movies.
yeah. Good.
Just my fat ass on the couch eating some chips, watching it to actually.
There's more to a movie than just the content.
I'm learning.
Yeah.
Young grasshopper.
So just give me a quick score. I'm gonna have to give this an 8 out of 10.
Very
Don't like it as
nice.
much as Iron Man 3, but you'd be lying if you said that you don't like this movie.
I was underwhelmed by it the first time I saw it, and I think it's because I didn't take everything in. I noticed that when I watch movies with a crowd, I really don't take things in as much as I do when I'm able to be alone watching. I think that's why I enjoy watching movies from home much more than in the theater, because I'm able to pause stuff, I'm able to look stuff up, I'm able to take notes.
Yeah,
Really take
it's
it
a
all in.
it's a slow build at times.
Yeah, I've come to really love that on your left opening.
Oh
uh,
yeah,
with Cap and Sam there. I think Anthony Mackie has instant chemistry with any actor he comes across, and
yeah, I agree.
even just in that brief scene, seeing the camaraderie between the two of them, like
Hmm.
just right off the bat, that's why
Yeah,
it was believable when they show up at his apartment and they're like, "Hey, we need a place," and he's just like, "Yeah, I got you." Like it's as if they've been friends for years. It's
yeah,
um, but I love how they, without throwing Sam into this whole counselor thing, they just show him doing and then they walk away from it. Like
mhm,
the
yeah,
origin story didn't have to be there. The character building, his own character naturally
mhm,
builds whatever character he's portraying. I love that about his acting.
yeah,
Um, I I think that the talk about their beds being too soft was really impactful. Uh, it shows their understanding of each other. Of
yeah,
what these tours look like, even though they were 60 years apart from each other,
hmm,
or
yeah,
whatever the time was. It was a commonality that they had that naturally brought them together without the story having to work in a way to bring them together. I think that right there really linked them. Um, I really appreciate that. I think my favorite part of the movie, and I know it's small and trivial, is actually Cap's list. His list
oh
of,
yeah,
I
yeah,
mean, he's got I Love Lucy television. He's got the moon landing, the Berlin Wall, Steve Jobs with Apple in parentheses,
yeah.
disco, Thai food, Star Wars / Trek, Nirvana with band in parentheses, Rocky
Yeah.
with Rocky 2 in parentheses, and then Trouble Man, the soundtrack
Martin Gaye.
from
Yeah.
Marvin Gaye. And I just love this list. Like it's, as I'm doing like the Battle of the Ballads with Greg and his brother Joe there.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking like this music, it's kind of like, we're making a time capsule of music for people. And this Caps is walking around with like, all right, I gotta check this out. It's from all different eras. I just absolutely love it. And part of me in my head can just picture him sitting around watching I Love Lucy, like on some downtime
Yeah.
and loving every second of it. So I think that was a really cool minor detail that also continues to remind you that he's missed so much. And he's still
Yeah.
coming to grips with a lot of things. And one, it's not a critique. I thought it was cool. It just didn't seem to fit the character. But when he's on the ship, just going wild on all these guys, he's more
Mhm.
like Frank Castle than Steve Rogers.
Yeah.
Just
I noticed he was very violent.
yeah, and part of me, I remember when I saw it, I'm like, oh, are they trying to show like what the serum can do to people? Like if they're unhinged, and they weren't. I just think that they wanted a grittier Cap, and we didn't really see that Cap again.
Yeah.
It was just that one scene where he doesn't care who lives and dies. He's just going to throw you into propellers, rip you off of things, like shoot you like it's. I
Yeah.
thought that was very interesting because it was very reminiscent of scenes that we saw in like the Punisher series, and it didn't quite fit for me. I like it. I like the whole scene, and I enjoyed watching it. I just didn't seem to fit. I think the chemistry between Natasha and Steve is
I
absolutely.
was just about to ask you about that. Yeah.
I know that they can both act, but geez, it seems like they should also get married,
Yeah.
or be best friends. Whatever it is, but it's just so natural.
Yeah.
It's whatever the stupid shit you do at work for like team building and like, oh, everybody's gonna
Mhm.
say interesting
Yeah.
things. It's like Marvel found a way to take that to the extreme and just get these people to be like in sync 100% of the time. I don't know, like
Yeah.
the fight scenes, just the looks, the glances, that scene in the car when she picks him up, when he's talking to Sam. I just the mannerisms.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's just
Here to pick up a fossil.
yeah. But
Yeah.
like the way she says it, it's like directed at Chris Evans if like they have a joke together.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah. On the way to New Jersey, before Zola, get your feet off the dash. We're just borrowing it.
yeah, yeah. The casting is so great in this. Just finding who fits together. I love this movie more and more every time I watch it. I think we were just texting about that, right?
Yeah.
The other day, I can't say enough about this movie, and it's interesting because the first few times I saw it, I really was not a fan, and I think it's because I was looking for something that just wasn't there. Um, I wanted more for Bucky, and well, turns out we get more for Bucky. That end credit
Yeah.
scene there was really solid, and I'm not a huge end credit scene person, but I think that was a really cool full circle moment without being a full circle moment.
Yeah.
Um, it's a movie where everything doesn't have to be spoken, and I really appreciate that about it. And I think that the camaraderie kind of carried the rest of the films moving forward, because if you look at the chemistry between the casts and these other movies, it wasn't about the direction that they were trying to go with the Infinity Gauntlet anymore. It was about putting together solid casts that work together
Yeah.
and really have chemistry on screen. And I
Yeah.
think when they built this universe, they casted it in that manner, as opposed to who can we get that's like a star for the lead in this. It was more of who's going to fit here, when we come together as a team. And you really start to see that, especially with this film moving forward.
Yeah.
I gave it an 8 as well. And I could probably give it a 9, but I know the movie that I'm going to assign a 9 or a 10 to. And so I don't know that it's on par with those, but I will say I think thus far it's my favorite MCU film that we've covered.
Nice. I'm actually going to bump mine up to an 8.5, just for two action moments. People love the elevator scene, and I know we gotta love it because it was referenced again in Endgame.
Yeah.
But oh my god, I forgot how amazing the rest of the fight was. From him, jumping out of the elevator into the lobby of Shield, and then fleeing on the motorcycle and taking down that ship. Like, the fuck?
Yeah.
It has no right being that awesome. And then also I loved the scene where Fury got shot by Bucky, and just I loved the pure I don't want to say ferocity, but just that unrelenting determination to get to him. You know, one of my favorite things to look for in that scene is when he takes his shield, runs right into the wall when the hallway turns, and then
Mhm.
just keeps going, busting through doors and shit. I love that. I just love that, that momentum that he gets. Well, Chris, well, Captain America when he's running, and also Chris Evans with portraying the character, and it's just phenomenal, so phenomenal.
You know what's interesting to me is in this film particularly, he almost had like a fuck it attitude, like towards a lot of stuff, and it was just
Yeah,
very, it was odd to me, and it wasn't like that in the other films. It's almost like the caring side of him was kind of gone. He's just seen so much, and that's what I equated this with the list. He's seen so much around him is not the way it used to be. You know, where you saw stuff with a
yeah,
handshake or you go to war for specific reasons instead of the money, weapons, oil kind of stuff. And so that's why I come back to that list. I think it was much more iconic than just a joke of like here's stuff he's missed out on. It's everything has changed,
yeah,
and so he's kind of like fuck this. This isn't the world that I used to protect.
yep,
Um, and I think that's acted really well without saying it. It's just I'm too dense to have gotten that the first 10 times around.
yeah. It's
Uh,
just done with this shit.
yeah, yeah. I'm too old for this shit. He literally is too old for that shit. I you, I'm gonna go 8.5 too.
Yeah, and you know what else we're forgetting? How about the incredible scene with him and Haley Atwell
Oh
when he's
yes.
saying, "Oh, still breaks my heart to this day." Especially when her memory relapses and what she what he says to her about not forgetting his best girl, and especially
Oh
when
yeah.
she shows him a dance, breaks my heart every time.
I think I would have
So
taken three more
so well.
seasons of Agent Carter over the entire first phase of the MCU.
Yeah, yeah,
um, no, that was a great scene too.
yeah,
There's a lot to love about this film, and it comes down to a lot of the small details. And it's taken me, I don't even know how many times, how many
yeah,
watches to get them all. And I still think I'll find something different each time I watch it. Um, this is one that over the years has worked into my rotation of, hey, I'm going to throw on a Marvel movie while I grade papers while I do this.
yeah. Right.
It's a very limited run, but this one definitely went on there the past couple of years. Uh, I'm happy to end this segment on a high note as opposed to how the last one went.
Yeah.
I was a major wet blanket last time, and it's because it was like three of the films I dreaded the most. But this has been a
Yeah.
fun run,
Sometimes you
and
got to be. And
yeah,
well,
I
luckily, it seems like the worst is behind us.
for the most part. Uh, Up next, we have Guardians, The Avengers, Age of Ultron, and Ant-Man.
Okay.
And
Okay.
I'm not dreading this one at all. I'm dreading one of them, but I don't want to give it away. I think that we'll have great discussions about it though. And
Yeah.
the reasons why I don't like certain films moving forward isn't because they're bad films. It's just there's certain things I don't like about them. So I'm excited to do that. And I don't know if folks at home know, but you and I have been waiting like 2+ years to do this. So
Yeah.
I know that it may seem to some like it's a bit outdated. Like, why are you talking about these movies? Well, because we just didn't get around to doing it.
Yeah.
So we
Yeah.
go through those.
We tried doing this before. Didn't really work out. It kind of fell short right as we were getting to Infinity War. So I'm glad we were able to just kind of like recap our thoughts, discover something new, and get back on this journey and finish what we started.
And I mapped it out, and I think we may almost be caught up to Black Widow by the time it comes out, if it comes
Oh,
out this
cool.
year. So that could work out perfectly.
Yeah.
And I just tallied some stuff up, and the interesting thing, so Iron Man got an average score of 7.25 from us.
Mhm.
The Incredible Hulk was 6.25 because you're 8, my 5. Iron Man 2 was an 8. Thor, 4.25 average. And Captain America, First Avenger, 5.75 average. And the Avengers was a 6. So phase 1 got an average a score of 6.25 from us as a whole.
Nice.
And yeah, right. And it's tough to consider that considering how much we loved it. And so far, average score for phase 2 already beat that. So
Yeah.
it's all looking up from here.
Yeah.
But it's interesting with that measuring stick, as each one of those films came out, we were like, oh, wow, it's amazing. And then to see the layers and see how it actually goes and to just think of what's to come. But I think I will get shit on a lot for my opinion on some of the movies coming forward, because some people's various favorite movies are some of my least favorite in this MCU. So
Yeah, we've definitely gotten spoiled with the
yeah,
movies that we've gotten.
but I will say I'll take the worst MCU movie over any modern DC movie any day.
Yeah.
Uh, and that's a whole other conversation. But Tim, my friend, what's in the works for you?
Oh, wait. In terms of what?
Any plugs? Anything you want to announce? Anything coming up?
Um, well, besides your fantastic series, as you mentioned before, Battle of the Bands on this very channel. Every comes out what? Every Tuesday, Wednesday?
Usually comes out Wednesday mornings because we do it too late on Tuesday
Yeah.
nights.
And then we got our phenomenal friend, Mr. Gary B, the casual man. Or what was his
Casual
channel?
comic guy.
Yes, casual comic guy. Always keeping it casual over there. I always see his unboxings and all his interviews, and they're just fantastic.
Yeah, folks with YouTube channels, if you're watching this and you haven't heard of the Grow Together initiative, hashtag Grow Together, something that Gary, the casual comic guy, has put together. And basically, he's promoting YouTube channels. He's getting them subscribers just because he's nice. And then on top of that, he's doing a giveaway for helping other channels reach subscribers. That's just the kind of guy Gary is. So definitely be on the lookout for Gary B, the casual comic guy. Awesome guy in our community. I just saw him today at Rhinos. Made me smile just when he walked in the door. And make sure to peruse every section at your local comic book shop. Keep those businesses going. Support them. There's a lot of changes when it comes to the grading, to the distribution between DC and Marvel books. Everything's changing right now. So keep your local comic shop in business. Even if it means going in and buying some dollar issues, every dollar helps. So always support local. Tim, my friend, it's a pleasure. I'm looking forward to this next series of
Yes, sir.
movies that we
Can't
have
wait.
coming up. I plan to start tomorrow. I'll be taking copious notes. And
Copious.
copious. I had to get that word out while I still could before the medicine wears off.
Yeah.
Much love to you, my friend. I look forward to seeing you soon. And we're on a solid journey here.
We are.
Until we meet
Hand in
again.
hand. Yes, sir.
Hand in hand until we meet again, my friend.
All right. Yes, sir.